Good evening, friends. It's Angela with Wild Violets Art. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm so excited to show you the beautiful new Country Birdhouse bundle. And it is out of the new catalog that starts May 1st. And I know that it's really hard when you're being tormented about stuff you can't have your hands on just yet. But just a few more days and May 1st will be here and you can order to your heart's content. So this is just a really adorable bundle, and I hope that you get a chance to play with it as well. It is also going to be my upcoming class on May 18th. So be sure to, let me make sure I've got that date right. Yeah, May 18th. So be sure to keep a lookout because as soon as May 1st comes around, that I will have it out ready for reservations or purchasing. And remember, my classes are always free with a purchase. If you buy $35 or more in Stampin' Up! Product from me, then I will provide you with a free class. So there's always an opportunity for you to get me to ship you that class for free. Also, if you purchase from me, I'll send you a catalog, and I'll do it at the same time as I do the kit, or I can send it to you earlier. So be sure to let me know if you're interested. So remember, my class for free is going to be May 18th, and it'll be the Country Birdhouse. And I can send you a catalog if you order. So just let me know. Both of those will be free. Okay, so let's take a look at these adorable goodies. So this is the Birdhouse bundle. I showed it to you a few weeks ago when I first got, or a couple weeks ago when I first got my product. And these little dies are so cute. And the Birdhouse stamps are also so cute. There's just all kinds of things you can do with both. And we're going to play with both tonight, just briefly. So if you hang on, then we'll get started with that. But part of the Country Woods Sweet collection is this really sweet little embossing folder. And as you can tell, it's got a great little pattern to it. And then they've got these basic gray and smoky slate pearls. So who doesn't love black pearls? Those are beautiful. And then it comes with this really beautiful twine, or not twine, but ribbon. And as you can tell, it's really glossy, and it's got a really beautiful, like a rope pattern on it. So really, really beautiful. And it's in white and petal pink. And then you've got these just amazing cardstock or designer series paper. So they've got lots of them that are distressed wood, and then you've got, or distressed paint, and they've got distressed wood. So both of them all the way through, they're two-sided, and they just have all this variety to it. So we're going to play a little bit with this as well. Okay, so the first card that we're going to do is, I'm actually going to case the catalog. I got started, but I didn't really get done. I just haven't had much time. I've been really busy with family. And I'm going to use some blends, a little bit of ink, and I've already stamped the Birdhouse. Now I used the E stamp because the Birdhouse is pretty large, and I used the Memento Tuxedo Black. So that's because I'm using the blends. So I started with some petal pink, and because that's just going to be the color combination I'm doing. And I wanted my flowers to be a little darker in the middle. And then my body of my Birdhouse is going to be Pool Party. And I'm going to start with the light Pool Party. I love the scallop. I am just such a Birdhouse fan, and as my husband knows, we have more than what we need, and some of them don't have birds. Well, actually none of them have birds in them because we just moved to a new location, but many of them are still indoors because we need to take down some trees before I start hanging up birdhouses. So the nice thing about blends is once you've colored a little bit, it'll kind of blend with each other, and you'll get a more blended look. In other words, it doesn't stay quite so blotchy. As it dries, it gets a little bit better. So now we're going to bring in the dark, because I'm just going to darken up the bottom, just assuming that this little birdhouse is at an angle. And then I'm going to bring in a little darker around the scallops, like the sun is shining on it. And I'm going to bring a little darker down here, and then just a little bit darker down there. So as you can see, we got all the dark down there. So you can see that it kind of just makes it pop out and gives it like a 3D look. Okay, so because I'm using Coastal Cabana as my background, and let me just show you what the background is going to look like. So what I did is I took a piece of 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, and I embossed it with this new embossing folder. Okay, the Eyelet 3D embossing folder. And as you can see, it's just got a really great 3D effect. It's really adorable. Hey, Arlene, are you guys having rain again over there in California? And then what I did is I took and I used the Whisper White Craft ink, and I kind of swiped it across there. Now I did that last week with the Fern embossing folder, just to kind of give it a little bit of distress. And then of course I pulled up the corners, made it so that it was distressed. But anyway, that's going to be my background that I'm going to put this little card front on. So I'm trying to keep colors sort of following that. Okay, so because there's not a Coastal Cabana blend, so that was a big around, I'm going to use the new Summer Splash. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to color my leaves with this. And I think it just gives it a little bit of the Coastal Cabana look. Not quite. So I'll do the dark. Yeah, this one's the, no, this is the light for the leaves. And then I'm going to use the dark up here in this little gable trim. And then I will darken where the birdie lands. Let's see. Should I do a little bit of the stem so at least looks like it's part of it? Okay. And then, of course, I did these flowers with the Petal Pink blends. And then I have here, I have the pecan pie. Do you know we have 3 pies in our colors? Let's Stampin' Up. We have pumpkin pie, which we've had for a long time. And then we came up with pecan pie, which is now one of our regular colors. And then now there is a peach pie in our in colors. So I think somebody likes pie. What do you think? I do. I'm more of a berry pie, but and then I'm going to do the roof gable. I probably should use the smaller nib on my pen so that I don't go where I'm not supposed to go. And remember, I'm casing this from the catalog, so there's a couple of changes that I'm making to it that aren't the same, but remember, this is wood, so there's going to be a little bit of a grain. So it's okay if there's lines, because actually it looks more like wood that way. And then we'll come back with the dark and just kind of do the same thing. This is very soothing. So if you like coloring, the blends are amazing because the alcohol ink just really works together. Okay, now because this is the inside of the birdhouse, I'm going to do the basic black. And I think I'm going to come in with the smaller nib. And then I'm just going to do a little outline. And that way you can kind of see there's some shadow in there. Okay. And I think I want this to be petal pink. I'm thinking that would be really pretty. And I'm going to use the dark petal pink for this part right here. Okay, so Stampin' Up! Has a wood grain stamp that comes with this. So it's kind of hard to notice, but there's a wood grain, so you can kind of see. And I'm just going to add a little bit of pecan pie wood grain. And I don't think it'll fit in this area, and I don't want to mark that up. So that just kind of gives out a little bit of wood grain. And then I'm going to come back and do a little wood grain on this in Coastal Cabana. Because I don't know about you, but birdhouses are usually made with wood. Not all the time, but let me see if I can just get a little piece of paper to block this. There we go. And maybe another one down here. Okay. Gives it a little more visual interest than just... Okay, so next I'm going to use I think that's actually, I think that's it. If I can remember from the picture. Oh, okay. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little sentiment. Oops, this isn't the sentiment actually. And that's not either. Where's my happy birthday? There it is. I'm going to use add happy birthday right here. Okay. And then I'm just going to distress my edges a little bit. Now, if you don't like using your fingernails or your fingernails aren't strong enough, just use your scissors. Oh, I guess I should show this in the video. So I can just scraping along the edge. Okay. Oh, I love my little blends. I agree. Okay, and then we have my dimensionals. If you have something you really care about, you'll have to be careful about the dimensionals because you can see they bleed through a little bit. Emmy, oh my goodness, you don't need to be here. Excuse me while I put the kitty away. They like to sleep up above, and hopefully she stays and doesn't jump down in the middle of this. Oh well. Okay. So the only thing this card is missing is a little bow. And I made one in advance. And I just think maybe on top of the little birdhouse would be so cute. Or maybe the bottom. What do you think? The bottom or the top? Yes, she's my fuzzy crafting friend. She thinks she's helping, but really she's just leaving her hair everywhere. I think I'll leave this little bow down here at the bottom. Okay. So what do you think? This one's done. Oh, it just needs to be added to. So I did this. Remember, this is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8 embossed, and then I used the Whisper White Craft, distressed the edges, and glued it to a basic black 4.5 by 5 or 4 1/4 by 5.5, so that it fits right over an A2 card. I like using basic white card bases because then all I have to do is add the front and I can still stamp something cute on the inside and I don't have to add extra paper. So I just love the basic white thick cardstock. So, okay, so there it is. You can add a sentiment on the inside. They have a really cute one that says, hoping you have the best day ever. So just, you can see that, isn't that cute with a little period in between each word? Okay, so this is the first card. Let's put this aside. Now the second card is the same colors, but we're mixing it up a little bit. So as you can see, I made the card base that I glued to white cardstock at 4 1/4 by 5.5. I made that Coastal Cabana. I used a basic black cardstock at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I'll have all these measurements on my blog here in a couple days. I embossed it, and then I used the white craft to give it a little bit of a distressed look, and then of course distress the edges. So we're going to build this together, and all these die pieces, except for the flowers and leaves, were from the cardstock. So you can see the wood grain, the designer series paper. I just love the distressed paint look. And then this piece right here, which is the distressed paint on wood, I added a wood grain. I embossed it after I die cut it. So let's start putting that together. Okay, so where's my card? Okay, here we go. All right, so we're starting with the basic white cardstock. And this is 8.5 by 5.5. And then I've got the Coastal Cabana at 4.25 by 5.5, and I'm just gluing it on and lining it up so it looks like Coastal Cabana cardstock. So you don't have to do all these layers, but I love layers. Thanks, Arlene. Okay, so this is that black, basic black, cut it 4.125 by 5.375, and you can see that I embossed it. So it just barely shows up right now. And so the reason that I want to use the craft is for that very reason. You can't really see this beautiful eyelet 3D pattern. And so I think this basic white craft will be a fun way to make it pop. So I'm not doing it straight on because I'm just giving it an uneven look, because that's part of the distressed look. It's just having, you know, it looks like it's been painted and it's coming off. And then I'm just putting it on the edges as well, and then I'm going to distress those. Now I'm going to wait to distress it until after I glue it down, because what I find is that I get more of the white on me than I do left on the card. So let's glue this piece down, and then once it dries down, then I can come back with my fingernail. You may not want to do that, but and I distress it that way. So I'll show you here in just a second. Just make sure all my edges are equal. Okay, so now then I just come back with my fingernail and I just start peeling it back with my nail. And I like it to tear, so you can see that I just tore it, and I'm actually going to pull on it so it sort of curls up. So don't be afraid if it tears, because that's what we want. We want that distressed look, curling up the corners, because I think that just looks really fun. Okay, so this is the card base. All right, so all these little pieces, these are all parts of the dies. So I'll leave this here so you can kind of see. So this is the birdhouse. And as you can see, I've embossed it with the 3D wood. Let's make sure I'm calling it the right thing. Timber 3D embossing folder. I got to get these right. So you can see that I took it one more level. I love the photo of the distressed paint and wood grain. But one of the things that I find that I love about old wood is the wood grain pops up when it's distressed. Okay, so I'm going to glue this on. This one I popped it up on dimensionals, but I find that I don't necessarily like that. So it just kind of made it too 3D than I wanted. And as you can see, I cut a hole out of it. It didn't turn out to where I wanted it. So I used a, let's get this a little further down. That's about where I wanted, I think. It's not quite where I wanted it. So I have a little piece of the the wood DSP. Let's bring it up here so that you can see it. So you can barely, it's a pretty dark piece of wood. So you have to be looking at it close up to kind of see how dark that wood grain is. So it kind of looks like the inside of the birdhouse is in shadow. So I want that centered. Okay. Now this part I want it to be popped up. So I'm going to use my dimensionals. And when you've got tiny little skinny things like this, you want to be generous with your dimensionals so that it doesn't collapse on you. Okay, I'm going to turn this around so I make sure I get it lined up right. And making sure that it's the same. Okay. All right, so this is part of the gable front, and I want it to kind of overlap with the scallop piece. Okay, so you can see. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna overlap these, and I'm gonna put dimensionals on both of them so that they show up together. Because it's such a tiny little piece, I didn't think that it was gonna take to using dimensionals very easily. Didn't quite get. Oops, I don't want to. There we go. And then I'm going to tuck those underneath the little eave that's in this really cute coastal cabana distressed. So again, I'm going to start here. See if I can get it to nest underneath it a little bit. Oh, it doesn't want to nest. It wants to take over. Okay. All right, and then we've got this cute little perch here, or base, and I can use bigger dimensionals for this one. There they are. I don't know how many times a day I lose my dimensionals. It was crazy in here this weekend. I had a class that I was mailing out and all kinds of other goodies. Okay, so when I chose the direction of my wood grain on my DSP, I wanted it to look like it was a piece of wood that had been cut and it was distressed. So over time, the paint was starting to come off, and I just think it gives it a really cool look altogether. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is, this is like a little bow with string, like it's hanging from something. And then, okay, so this is supposed to be like a bird stand. So it's really cute. So if I was doing a tall card, I think this would be fun. Or if I pushed the birdhouse up, I can do this to make it look like this is what the birdhouse is sitting on. Isn't that adorable? But I'm going to cut this off, just one of these. And so it looks like I've got a little hook hanging from something on my front porch. And because it was so hard to put dimensionals underneath it, I'm just going to glue it. And then I'll cut off the rest of this, whoops, string once I've gotten everything lined up and glued down. So I just need a small smidge, and of course I've got way more glue than I need. And it just needs to glue right there. Okay. Then I was going to add the flowers. So as you can see, these are all dies. All these flowers are dies from the die set. And pretty cute. So I think for this one, I'm going to go ahead and use a glue dot so it doesn't interfere with my happy birthday. I'm going to use 2 because I think 2 glue dots is better than 1 if you're trying to stabilize something. And I'll just put it there like so. And then I can just use dimensionals, the little mini ones, for the rest of the flowers. If you're wondering what these 2 white things are, these 2 little white things are actually from the bow. When I cut it out, it left those 2 little white things, and I thought, you know what? I'll just add them like they're part of the blooms. Nobody knows. It just kind of looks a little fuller. Okay, so I started with this one. And then this little flower or little leaf, I'm going to pair it with this little flower. I should have put the dimensional on together with the flower. So let me show you what I mean. So I want the flower to sit behind like so, and then I can add dimensionals. And then I can pop out the little bloom off to the side. Excuse me. I'm making the flowers kind of overlap a little bit. And then I'll just put this last little leaf, put it right here, and then I'll add these little white goodies just as a filler. Hey Linda, thanks for joining me. We're having fun making 2 cards, one's with the stamp set and one's with the dies. Very fun. Okay, So the last thing I need to do is two things. I need to add my embellishments, and these are the basic gray and smoky slate, and I'm using the darker ones, so I think they show up pretty well against the black. One in the middle of my bow, and then I'm going to put one up here, and I need to stamp my little sentiment. Okay, so the sentiment is just happy birthday. And I'm going to use the memento. Okay, I'm not worrying about whether it's slanted or whatever, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it out and make it even smaller. And this is one of those that just want it to be small. And it's kind of wonky, it doesn't really matter. Don't be afraid to do this. I think it's okay to not have actually really straight lines. Okay, so on this one, on the birthday, I'm going to put a dimensional on one side and a glue dot on the other because I want it to overlap. Onto the birdhouse. And I don't want to cover up any of my little sentiment. Okay, and then this one can have two little glue dots. And we're doing pretty good on time. It helps that I die cut things out ahead of time. But you know, I colored this with you and assembled, and then super easy card. Isn't that cute? So this is the birdhouse. This is my May 18th class. It's free with purchase. So remember that if you're interested in this class, these aren't the cards for the class. It'll be something different. But I'll have these on my blog here shortly. And giving you the measurements so everybody knows what it is that I did. But I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, if you want a free catalog, order anything you want. There's not a dollar amount limit. If you're a customer of mine, I'll send you a catalog for free. So I've got boxes of catalogs sitting here just waiting to be sent out to you. And then if you want my class for free, you're going to just need to order $35, and then just let me know that, hey, I want the birdhouse, the country birdhouse class. So, and I will reserve a spot. If you're watching this later on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and send to a friend. Thank you so much for joining me, and I loved having you tonight, and have a nice evening.